Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. How's everybody doing? Gonna wait a couple minutes so everybody get in here. Wait for YouTube to let the video be seen by everybody. Hey guys, it is an interesting day in the world we live in, that's for sure. So the polls are making a huge shift right now. I don't know if anybody caught Greg Gutfeld's show last night with Donald Trump on late night. That was a surprise. I did not expect Trump to go on late night. That's pretty awesome. Especially Greg Gutfeld's show. Greg Gutfeld, that dude is hilarious. But I'll tell you what, when he's on the 5 and he gets going and he's got a point to make, he does not have a problem making his point and being as vicious and as straight to the point as possible, which I really do respect that when it comes to somebody who is, in a sense, comic relief, but at the same time, he also speaks truth. So that right there is probably one of my favorite things about him. He's straightforward to the point. He can be a little silly and wacky and whatnot, but he definitely likes to speak truth, and that's probably my favorite thing about him. Greg Gutfeld looks at stuff from a different point of view than most people, but at the same time, his point of view may be skewed due to his past and his leanings. He still comes at it from a factual point of view that, I mean, you can argue with it all you want, but facts are facts. You can't make up your own facts. So a few things I want to address today before I get done with the show. Number one, the insanity and the ability for the left to be as two-faced as they are, and yet they want to sit there and blame everything on the Republicans or the conservatives or the Christians. It's insane. So they say that our talk is volatile and that Trump is evil and everything he says is racist or bigoted or whatever. Well, the last time I heard Trump say anything that was bigoted by any means was the joke he made back in the 2016 campaign where they were talking about some comments he supposedly made about women. I don't remember hearing them before that point, so I can't say whether or not he actually said them. And then he said Rosie O'Donnell. Okay, great. He made a joke, everybody at the debate laughed, and they moved on. I do want to point out that the person that made that observation, Megyn Kelly, has come around and said that she supports Trump. She feels Trump is the next best candidate for this country and for our republic. And I'm not going to argue with her. I agree 110%. Because you cannot have somebody in office who doesn't understand how an economy works. You can't have someone in office who doesn't understand how the free market works, and you definitely can't have someone in office who's got a bunch of Oh, I just lost my thought. You can't have someone in office who has Marxist ideals wrapped into her policies. And yes, I am speaking about Kamala Harris. And the reason why I know she has Marxist ideas is because that's part of it. Number one, she talked about eliminating private insurance, health insurance. If you do that, we will be worse than Canada. Guaranteed. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Our medical system, our care system will be way worse than Canada's or the UK's. Number two, she talks about price fixing. And I know I keep harping on this point, but I think it's a valid point to harp on. If you start price fixing, you screw the supply end of the chain. And when the supply end of the chain is no longer supplying the goods, that item goes away, and now people at the other end of the chain, the consumers, they suffer because that item's not there anymore. Now, if you look at other things that she's talked about eliminating fracking. If you eliminate fracking, there's a huge county in Colorado, if I remember correctly, it's Weld County. Weld County will suffer massively because gas and oil, or oil and gas, whatever order you want to put those in, is a huge part of their economy up there in the Greeley, Evans area, and even Windsor, and I'm not sure what other cities or towns Weld County covers, but I know it does cover some of those. And Weld County, their main thing is trying to just live life the way they want to live it. They were part of, what's up, Kisei Edwards? I hope I didn't butcher the name. They want to live life how they want to live it, and they don't want government interference. And as far as I'm concerned, if they're not doing anything against the law, I feel that that's how they should be able to live their lives. Weld County was one of the bigger counties that wanted to secede from Colorado and become part of Wyoming. Because the government in Colorado leans left, and it leans so far left that even our Democrat governor will veto bills from our state house and senate because they are just too far left. They're straight. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. They are straight far left. And because of that, I mean, I'm not a big fan of our governor. I think some of the stuff he's put in place have hurt the state of Colorado more than they've helped, especially when it comes to having Denver being a sanctuary city. The fact that when the BLM riots were happening downtown, he didn't protect the cops, he didn't protect the city, and he basically told the cops to stand down and stay out of their way. And the BLM rioters even went straight for the police, and it didn't turn out very well. And there were quite a few officers in Denver PD that were hurt, and it's dumb. One of the things you have to have when it comes to a state is you have to have law and order. If you don't have law and order, you are risking the safety of your citizens. You are risking the safety of the children of your citizens. And yes, I know the children are citizens, but they're minors, so they don't. A lot of people in politics do not think about kids sometimes. I mean, a lot do, and I'll give them credit when they do, but a good portion don't because the kids can't vote. And because of that, they don't really focus on what affects the kids. They worry about what focuses they can put into place that affect the parents. Now, one of the other things I don't like is Colorado is huge on taxation, and I'm talking huge on taxation. There are some counties they've increased the tax one, and then that was a statewide increase on taxes. Then they have like $4 or $5 per pack added on to cigarettes in certain areas. And it's like, you're really trying to just push business out the door because the state gets that tax money. Well, guess what? If you're charging, I'm not sure how much they are now. I think it's like the average price for a pack of cigarettes is like $10. In certain counties, they charge an extra $4 to $5 per sale, per item in a transaction. You're looking at $15 to $25 for a pack of cigarettes. When I used to smoke, I can remember buying packs of cigarettes for $3, $4, even $5 a pack. But $15 to $25 for a pack of cigarettes? Yeah, that'll make you want to quit, or it'll make you want to find another way to source your tobacco items, which that's what a lot of Coloradans have done. Almost anywhere in Colorado that's Denver or north of Denver can get to Cheyenne within, I think, 2.5 hours tops. And if somebody really wants a cigarette, I'm pretty sure they'd be willing to go to frickin' Wyoming to buy a pack. And they'll probably go up there and buy a carton. Just because that's how they want to do it, to save that money. And that's one of the more interesting facts. Colorado is shooting itself in the foot to spite its leg. And that's never a good thing. Especially since the people in politics don't suffer, unless they get voted out, of course, but the citizens do. And the citizenry are the ones that really do matter when it comes to a state's livelihood. Because guess what? Look at California. California has lost more citizens than they've gained in the last 3 years. And because of that, now they're hurting. They're even starting to charge. They're doing a test pilot program where they're charging people per mile on road tax instead of the gas tax, because they made everybody get rid of their damn gas powered vehicles. That's insane. But that's California for you. Democrat House, Democrat Senate, Democrat governor. Governor Newsom is an idiot. Nancy Pelosi has done that state no good. It's all about social justice, and I'm sorry, but all social justice translates into is special rights, and nobody should have special rights because everybody should have equal rights. I think it says a lot that even here in Colorado, some of our bills and whatever that get pushed through to the governor before they become law, they get vetoed, because even he's not that far left yet. But I don't know how much longer he's going to be in office, to the point that the far lefties won't succeed. Same thing when it comes to our current House and Senate. I mean, right now you've got Republicans cannibalizing Republicans and Republican bills and refusing to vote for them because they think, oh my God, it's racist or whatever. So it's just dumb all the way around. And it's just one of those things where you have to realize that there's only so much you can do. So I am going to stick my phone in my back pocket. I have to buy some shoe glue for my daughter's shoes. And I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see anything, but if you can, great. If not, I'll see you on the flip side. But I am going to keep the live stream going just for the fun of it. So if you don't see anything, just keep an eye out. You'll get to view the world around you.
Check this out, chat. It's gotten so bad theft-wise, they're locking up the socks in Walmart. Oh my god, chat, look at those. Garfield shoes. Too bad they don't have them in my size. I'd buy a pair for sure. $11.50. Let's see. I'd have to get like 12 and a half maybe. There's a 12. Those look like they would fit. And then these new digital price tags at Walmart. Where'd they put the shoe glue? Excuse me, where would I find shoe goo? Okay.
I know. Sorry.
No worries, thank you.
Yeah, something to carry me through, and maybe just maybe it might help you out here. All right, Brandon. Today, there's something we're going to go
have your games and stuff.
Right, pass on a pizza.
Oh. All right, chat, here we go. Hop back in the car and head off to Walmart number 2. Ooh, that's a nice old school Bronco. Or is that no, that's a old school Ford Explorer maybe. Or a Jimmy. All those cars from that year look the same. All right, chat. We're back in the car. Gonna go hit the Walmart by the house and see if we can't find some shoe goo. So, I think it's interesting that there's been two assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life, and yet the left still thinks it's okay to call him a danger to our democracy, a threat to our democracy, and calling him basically Hitler. I mean, if I was alive back when Hitler was around, or before Hitler was around, I would think it would be justified to take care of him in the worst way. But Hitler also killed 6 million Jews. Hitler didn't make his economy better. Hitler didn't make small business ownership easier or better. Hitler didn't keep world peace. Actually, he caused a war. So I'd say people can go ahead and compare Donald Trump to Hitler, but as far as I'm concerned, there is no comparison. And they can sit here and say that all the rhetoric that Trump spews is evil, but I don't hear evil rhetoric. I hear Donald Trump stating what everybody is talking about. Donald Trump, one of the things he's been best about doing is keeping his ear to the ground and listening to what the people are concerned about. And one of the things the people are concerned about right now is illegal immigration and whether or not we're going to have a country in, 3-5 years or maybe even less because of the illegal immigration, the global threats nationwide, the terrorists that are coming through our porous border. There's so much going on right now that I don't think people grasp the full levity of. You cannot expect to understand something if you're unwilling to do your own research and figure out what the heck is actually going on in the country. And if you notice, and this was pointed out on a show or are bringing in lots of illegal migrants, they're being brought to swing states. They're being brought to states that were once solid red, and now they're light pink, and then after that they become purple, and then after that they start to lean blue. And the reason for that is because if the American people realize they could benefits, that's when our country starts to go down the tubes, because you don't vote yourself benefits, you vote yourself opportunities. An opportunity is room to grow. An opportunity is room to learn. An opportunity is room to make something that wasn't there before. A handout is you getting something you don't deserve and didn't need. So, for example, if someone comes here illegally, they're getting $5,000 visas. Gift card visas. Visa gift cards, however you want to put it. They're getting put up in hotels that cities are taking over to give them places to live because they don't want them on the street, making it a homeless crisis even worse. And then you have people that take advantage of that system and they start hiring illegal immigrants because they can pay them cash under the table for a quarter of what they are required to pay an American citizen. Why? Because American citizens value their time and their money, and they expect to be paid a fair wage for what they do. Now, not everybody gets what they consider a fair wage, but when I talk about a fair wage, I'm talking fair market value. For example, currently a dispatcher of any business, depending upon the load on that dispatcher, makes anywhere between $23 to $32 an hour. Now, when you up the level of responsibility to stuff like a 911 dispatcher or a dispatcher for a multi-million-dollar trucking company, then that wage increases even more. Why? Because that dispatcher is right in the line of money. How that dispatcher does their job and how that dispatcher manages the drivers that are underneath them can impact the amount of money that company can take in, as well as impact how profitable they are. For example, if you take a trucking company and you have a very good dispatcher who can get a hold of companies that need pickups and drops and do it in a timely manner, and those drivers are good enough that they can hit those spots
pick up the loads, drop them off in order, and get a good day's wage because they get paid by the mile, that dispatcher is worth his weight in gold. But if you have a shitty dispatcher who doesn't pay attention to anything, blames the drivers for everything, isn't willing to acknowledge their shortcomings, they're not worth much because they don't add value to the company. And I think that's really where a lot of people have lost focus when it comes to our economy. If you don't add value to a company that you work for, don't expect to be given a high wage. Why? Because the more value you add to that company and the more money they rake in, the more they can pay you based upon what you've earned. Now, I don't consider it a bad thing when certain companies, when they're in a lull and they keep employees around even though they're higher priced employees, because they know that in a pinch they can ask that employee to do something even outside of their job responsibilities, and they'll do it. Why? Because they actually care about the company. I was watching some memes earlier today about how, or not just today, but last night, about how a lot of the new Gen Zs and Gen Alphas that are getting ready to start going into the workplace in a couple years, they're looking at, learning how to interview, learning what questions to ask, learning what is or is not a good answer, or what is not a red flag, or what is a red flag when it comes to an interview and the way a company answers certain questions. And one of the big things that I find hilarious is a lot of Gen Z consider it a huge red flag when a company says we're kind of like a family. I've worked in multiple businesses, everything from big corporates to independently owned companies that do kind of operate like a family. But I think that a lot of people look at it the wrong way. And there are companies that do abuse that statement and make it seem like they have a right to demand something of somebody because it's a family. Let me clarify those. So when you work for a company that's like a family, they care about you. They're interested in not only the value you currently bring, but what they can invest in you to make you more valuable to the company to then keep you around at a higher wage. They understand that when you're going through an emotional hardship, for example, back in 2018, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. She beat it, and she's been cancer-free for more than 5 years. But they understood that I was at my wit's end emotionally and mentally. And they worked with me on it. I still came to work every day. I still woke up every morning and looked at my mom and I'll fully admit it, I checked to make sure she was still breathing every morning during those times. That's how much I worried about it. And they understood it. Heck, I had coworkers coming to me saying, how do you do it? I'm like, do what? How do you sit here and work 40, 50 hours a week on an hourly wage, raise 4 kids by yourself, and help take care of your mom who's dealing with cancer, and still able to remain positive, still able to look at life and not want to scream? And it's become so accustomed to me to live life in a positive manner. Now, everyone's going to look at that and be like, wait a minute, you were just saying bad things about the Democrats. No, I'm saying factual things. And I'm giving examples to back those factual points up. I'm not being negative. There are a lot of good people that vote Democrat. I just think a lot of the people that vote Democrats either have skin in the game or they're underinformed or misinformed. The mainstream media has been really good at misinforming people. And, oh my gosh, I gotta talk about this. Some news agencies are understanding that they're not going to exist in 5 years if Trump wins, because they're going to be exposed as being full of shit. For example, CNN. While the moderators at the ABC presidential debate did not fact check Kamala Harris, the reporters on CNN did. And they proved that, number one, Trump never disgraced the military by saying losers and whatever they keep saying he said. He didn't call neo-Nazis good people. He didn't say there was going to be a bloodbath if he lost the election. That's only a partial quote on that statement right there. When Trump made that statement, he was talking about in the auto market. And he was talking about a bloodbath when it came to jobs, and the unions are going to lose a lot of employees because a lot of car makers are looking to take the factories down south across the border. And Trump was being very truthful and very blunt, as far as I'm concerned, about saying that if you do not have me as president, your next president is going to make it so bad for business that these companies are going to uproot their factories, go to Mexico, and get employees down there that they can work twice as hard for half what they're paying now and not have to deal with a union. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. That's why Trump says to keep the automakers in the U.S., he will add 100% tariff to any vehicle that is considered an imported vehicle from another country. And he also stated that if he's not elected president, there will be a bloodbath in the automotive industry. Because you will lose jobs, you will lose factories, all to Mexico. A perfect example, Carrier, the air conditioning manufacturer, they were going to leave and go to Mexico. And as soon as Donald Trump realized what was going on, he called them up personally and was like, hey, don't do that to that town. Don't do that to those people. Stay here. Stick with me. And when I win, I will make it better for business nationwide. And that's what he did. He lowered taxes. And the left is going to come up and say, oh, he lowered taxes for all his buddies. Last time I checked, more millionaires donate to the Democrat Party than they do the Republican Party. So go ahead and fact check that if you want. But more people donate to the Democrat Party than they do the Republican Party. So you're not going to convince me that Trump did that for his buddies in business. No, that's not going to happen. You cannot convince me of that. Because not only did he help the bigger companies so they can provide better wages, the good bigger companies can provide better wages and treat their employees better and pay them more. He also made it so those that were looking to start their own businesses, they weren't paying out the ass for taxes. They were just paying I lost the word. They were paying a smaller amount than they would have, so they could be more successful because they had more money to invest in the business instead of giving it to the government in taxes. And that's an ingenious idea.
you shouldn't look for a bike right now, Jaden. You should be studying and taking the practice test online so you know you're going to pass it. That way, when you actually do end up taking it, you pass it and you get your learner's permit. You do not need a motorcycle. You do not need a scooter. You do not need a dirt bike. You need to focus on school and focus on getting your learner's permit. That's what I meant by putting the cart before the horse. You're looking for a motorcycle when you don't have a license, don't even have your learner's permit, don't have a job to pay for anything, and depending upon the CCs of the motorcycle, you need a motorcycle license, which the prerequisite to get a motorcycle license is you have to have a driver's license. That's what I meant by putting the cart before the horse. You're looking so far ahead in the future, you're not paying attention to what you need to focus on now. Just Google Colorado written practice test. Colorado driver's license written practice test. You'll find it, I promise you. A little bit of Googling, dude. You should learn to be a little more self-sufficient instead of relying on me for all your answers, because I'm not always going to be here, dude. But I love helping you. Don't get me wrong. I do love helping you. But that's stuff you could easily look up with Google. But the Democrats don't seem to understand that a free market economy is better in the long run. Yes, there are some shortcomings in a free market economy. But look at it this way. In a free market economy, when a business goes out of business because they were mismanaged or improperly handled, or they didn't do business the right way and they got sued, or however you want to put it, when a business goes away, in a free market, another takes its place. In a fixed market, which is what Kamala Harris wants to do, when one business, I just said, the written driver's license test. It's the practice written driver's license test. But guys, I'm gonna end the stream here in a second, but I just want to finish my statement. When you have a fixed market, like what Kamala wants to put in place, when one business disappears, nobody else wants to take that spot up, and it leaves a vacuum because they don't want to live by what the government wants to push on them. So, that being said, guys, thanks so much for listening to me rant for the last 45 minutes, and I will see you guys on the flip side. I will be streaming live tomorrow night on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. Archon Delight, ARKONDLIGHT, as well as probably be streaming Saturday and Sunday night as well. So, you guys have a great day. This is Archon Delight. Peace out.